Hey, welcome to Sports and Politics with T. I'm your host, Tanya. Tonight we have made it back to Monday, guys. Listen, I hope everybody's enjoyed their week so far. We have made it. We are already all the way on the 12th day of January, guys. Let's give it up for tonight. Yes, we have made it, getting into the second week of January. Listen, guys, I want to say thank you for all the people that chimed in on last week. We had a good turnout of views, and we had a lot of people participating, commenting, liking, and sharing. And we also had 13 additional new subscribers to join this channel. Welcome to this station. You are going to love the content. Like I said, we'll be bringing the videos to you on Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Okay. I also got some notifications from a few people about the volume on the last video. And I did try to tweak it a little bit. Definitely apologize about that. When I'm using my earpiece, guys, sometimes the sound doesn't come through like it does when you're watching it on TV or through your phone or your laptop. So I decided to go ahead and change some of the settings. Hopefully, it's a little bit better on this particular video. And I definitely apologize because when I listened to it on my television, I could tell a big difference in the distortion of the sound. Typically, I don't usually have that much echo, but for some reason, it was echoing a lot on that last video. So definitely apologize about that. But hopefully, this is a lot better, and hopefully, you can hear me a lot more clear on this show. All right. But yes, guys, again, thank you. I think we had almost 14 to 1,500 views on the last show. And trust me, that is excellent for this show because we are still growing. And we're going to keep on plugging those videos, like I say, on Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. And again, thank you for all the new subscribers. Welcome to my channel. My name is Tanya. I've been doing this channel for a little over a year and a half now. And so we are going into the second, this is the second season of this show. And so, of course, we deal with sports, we deal with politics. I am an independent. I'm not Democrat. However, I do sometimes look at the Democratic views for the most part on a lot of the subjects that we cover. Okay. Tonight, we are going to talk about Maga and how they are feeling about this Epstein. We're not going to leave it alone, guys. We're not leaving it alone because, like I said, Donald Trump is not acting like he's innocent. And this lady here on the left, she is going to say some of the things that I've been feeling this whole entire time as far as why it's taking so long to release the list. Why are people dragging their feet? What is the problem? Why are we still talking about this guy? I'm going to let you know how I feel about this. And then a little bit later on, we're going to listen in on Willie D's station, which we talked about him last week. He's going to talk about Donald Trump's mental state because a lot of people think that dementia might be setting in on Donald Trump. But first, let's go ahead and talk about this. This is again about the Epstein list. I'm going to let you know how I feel about it once it's over.
Running interference, we're not getting the information out.
Let's jump into this clip from the Abby Phillips show where the Republicans at the table get pushed into an impossible corner, trying to explain why the Epstein files should stay buried.
A changing tide in the Republican Party, perhaps or absolutely. Remember, Donald Trump and his Justice Department have resisted releasing the Epstein files, but now that Epstein's emails mentioning the president have surfaced, Republicans are bracing for mass defections in the upcoming vote. This is months and months and months and months. Does it feel inevitable now that this, one, the vote will happen, and two, the Justice Department will release the files, Joe?
Well, I mean, the vote will happen, right? I think that's inevitable. That's happening. The House is going to vote on it. I think the House passes it. I think enough Republicans defect. That part's not in question. What does the Senate do is kind of the next question. What does the president do? Does he veto any legislation? Those are the kind of things that are still TBD, right? We don't know how that would...
You think it's possible for the president to veto this legislation?
I think it'll be very hard. The reality is this really has the remnants of the Russia collusion scandal, in my opinion, right? It's the same thing. It's a distraction. It's an attempt of the Democratic Party to distract the president in an otherwise successful opening first year. That's what's happening. The reality, though, is that if you look at the Russia collusion, if you think back to the Russia collusion, the complexity, they had to get MI6 to make some fake dossier and get everyone riled up about that. Now they just redacted the woman's name who actually said that Trump didn't do anything wrong. This is embarrassing. This is an embarrassing PR stunt by the Democrats to try to distract from the shutdown that's now ended. They're trying to move on to something else. Epstein is a sexy topic. We all talk about it in our private lives. We talk about it at the water cooler. Democrats know that media will repeat every talking point they spew out there. And here we are.
I'm sorry. What's embarrassing, honestly, is sitting around covering up for child trafficking. It's not the Democrats who made up child trafficking. It's not the Democrats who made up Jeffrey Epstein as a prosecuted child trafficker. It is the reality of the situation. And honestly, the reason why everyone is suspicious about Donald Trump is because he's acting suspicious. It came out that his name was in the Epstein files, and then he had his own personal lawyer go negotiate the deal with Ghislaine Maxwell, who went from high security prison to basically summer camp. And I am so sorry. No. I'm so sorry. Let me just finish.
Email.
Literally, the Epstein emails say, I can take down Donald Trump. Now, why would he be able to take down Donald Trump unless Donald Trump knows something?
Because he's a bad person who can very easily use that kind of notoriety to take on someone.
That's also a BS artist. Jeffrey Epstein was a notorious BS artist, but that's not the point. The point here is, why are we pretending as if these documents might actually get released by the Department of Justice?
You really think it's never?
No way,
Why?
no chance.
Why do you say that?
Why? Because
Because then he's guilty. Then you're admitting Donald Trump is guilty.
I'm talking about the
why
politics.
Would they not?
You want to hear? I'll explain. It's not complicated. It's really simple. The Senate is either not going to take it up, and B, the notion that Trump won't veto this. Since when is Donald Trump afraid of taking a political hit? The idea that Donald Trump will see this on his desk and say, well, this is just too sensitive politically. I can't veto this.
They might have a veto-proof majority.
They don't have a. We know they don't have a veto-proof majority. Let's not. Why are we pretending this is real? There's no chance.
Here's the one real thing that we all. There are victims here that have been shouting for years.
But it's not going to
Give a
happen.
damn about the victims.
It's not going to happen.
I actually think this fatalism, saying Trump will just absolutely veto, is actually an excuse for him. If he vetoes legislation, bipartisan legislation, and I have to say, if there is a vote in the House in which 100 House Republicans or 50 House Republicans vote for it, I want to say to every Republican senator, those victims will be dogging you every day, as will the American people. And
they don't care.
John Doe wants to stop. But look, it's getting results. There's a discharge petition, and Republicans are going to end up voting for it. That is getting results. And if Donald Trump vetoes this legislation, then he might as well just say,
I don't even know if he make it out of the Senate.
Nobody cares, though. That's what I'm saying.
They don't.
That's the unfortunate part.
That is not true.
Nobody cares what do you mean?
Nobody cares if Donald Trump vetoes it. To Dan's point, he doesn't give a damn about somebody saying, "Oh my God, you vetoed it. I can't believe you vetoed it." He has no problem taking a political hit.
Keep going.
What I'm saying, they don't. We're not.
This issue did not come up once during the election. Let's be clear about that.
Let me be clear. Let me be clear. It's the right thing to do to release the files. I want to be clear about that. It's the right thing to do. Donald Trump doesn't care about the right thing to do. So to deal with the reality of where we are, if Democrats if they want to use this for their message and say, look, he didn't veto it, he vetoed it, I just don't think that's going to move his voters. This man said he could stand in New York and kill somebody and there will be no consequence. And Republicans have proven
I think this is
the argument.
I don't think it matters at all. They don't care what he does.
The argument that Donald Trump doesn't care about this issue is absolute nonsense because he was the one who brought this up in the first place.
Until he got
put into a position where he did not realize that there were going to be bad faith Democrats who were going to take emails completely out of context. Which you guys have.
No, this isn't out of context. The problem is that for the first time, we finally have context, and Trump is acting like a man who knows exactly what's still in those files.
Every single time.
That's hilarious.
I agree. So the reason why I'm saying he's in a little bit of a tricky position, by putting all this stuff out there, he knows that he's going to be cleared, but he also knows that Democrats are not going to say, well, let's all go through 20, 30,000 different emails.
They actually are.
No, but they're not. Has anyone at this table looked at more than a few emails?
But then what's
Has
great,
anyone at this table looked at more?
Yes, I
CNN
have looked
did.
at hundreds of emails. I don't know why you haven't.
So you got the
let's
evidence
be
that
clear.
suggests
The
that Donald
emails-
Trump did something wrong.
No, but the emails are embarrassing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Not
The
from
emails
an
are
opposite
But
embarrassing.
embarrassing
perspective.
now and getting to move on to
we have
it,
to
move on to
correct
it
it.
later.
These are
is
not
embarrassing.
all the
We have to
emails.
correct it.
These are
The
not
only
all
the only
emails.
email that
There are
Jeffrey
more
Epstein
emails.
wrote that came out today that mentioned Donald Trump actually said that Donald Trump knew about the girls that Ghislaine Maxwell was recruiting at Mar-a-Lago and told her to
That's
stop
not
it.
the only
That's
emails.
backs
No,
up
no,
what
no,
he's
no,
been
no.
saying.
That's not the
that
only
he
emails.
has
He's
posted out.
mentioned
And
it.
also,
There's
Jeffrey,
another
thousands
email.
of times,
Hang on.
and is really, but this is an important piece. Thousands of times, I looked up 5 emails just at random, looking up his name. Some of them were links to articles and
Yeah.
his name was in the title.
A lot of them are
But
It's not thousands, as in like
He
they're talking about
I'm responding to the
But
point
the
of one
Hang on, hang on, hang on.
said
Because
the email that he
people-
mentioned
He
Trump,
literally
it was an exoneration of
It
Trump.
wasn't exoneration. He literally
He
says,
stopped Ghislaine
I
Maxwell.
have information that can take him down. That is in the
So
in the
why
email.
would they release
I'm
in
sure.
2011?
If it's
in
please-
2017, he said,
Here's the-
yes, he knew
here's
about the
what's
girls
changing,
and
though.
he kicked
So why
Ghislaine
won't they
Maxwell
release
out.
them?
So why won't they
Because
release
they
them?
would be
I
taken
agree.
out.
That's transparency.
No,
I'm
they're not
Release
being
all the
released.
emails.
Here's the change.
Release the
The
emails.
change is it doesn't matter what we're saying here. Republicans there is a change amongst House Republicans especially. There is a shift here. They are
Absolutely.
moving away from Trump doesn't want this out,
Yes.
very clear. But then you have let me just play Thomas Massey. Because Thomas Massey, Republican, hates
It's
Donald
of the
Trump.
Republican Party.
I would definitely say he's not. He specifically had a message for Republicans about what this means to you, Republicans, on this very moment. Let me play this for you guys.
The deal for Republicans on this vote is that Trump will protect you if you vote the wrong way. In other words, if you vote to cover up for pedophiles, you've got cover in a Republican primary. But I would remind my colleagues that this vote is going to be on your record for longer than Trump is going to be president. And what are you going to do in 2028 and 2030 when you're in a debate, either with a Republican or a Democrat, and they say, how can we trust you? You covered up for a pedophile back in 2025.
Is that? Do you think that's not real? Do you not?
No, I think that. So here's the deal: the polling is rather interesting on this. On the one hand, you have people who say this is being mishandled by the Trump administration. That polling is very clear. But the polling also suggests about 20% are actually paying close attention to this, and that's the issue for Donald Trump and Republicans in general. It's
Well, I'm gonna chime in for just a second about this because this is the thing about this whole Epstein, and like I said before, and I'll say it again: if you know you're not guilty, okay, they keep going back and forth, back and forth. The easiest thing to do through all of this back and forth bickering is just release the files. It's really that simple, guys. They're making this more complicated than what it's supposed to be. Okay. I know, and even that lady just said that he's not acting like somebody that's innocent. Okay. If you know you haven't done anything, he should be, as the president, as the leader of this country. You shouldn't even want that tied to your name, period. I don't care what speculation is going around, what rumors is going around. If there's a whiff that this is what people may be thinking, as the president, you should be transparent. You should demand those files to be released as soon as possible to get to the bottom of it and to clear your name. It's just that simple. This whole thing about him being they may veto it and this and that. But to me, you're not saying you didn't do it. And not one time has he ever said that these allegations are not true. I've never even heard him even say that. It's almost like he dismisses it and then he diverts our attention to, like you say, the wars and all this other stuff so that people can take their mind off of this list. But people are not taking their mind off of it. They want answers, right? And like that gentleman that just said, it's going to look bad on the Republicans later down the road. You may not think it's going to hurt you right now, but in 2028, when it's time to rerun again, and let's say there's evidence that leaks him to this, it's going to say, like that man said, it's going to stay on your record longer than he will be president, right? So that's the thing. This is really jeopardizing their own career. And that's the thing. I'm like, when it comes to this, there should be a line. I don't care if it's Democrat, Republican, that no one should have that type of power over your judgment, over your thinking, over your mind, right? That you just got to side with this guy, even if there's a slight possibility that he could be linked to the Epstein list. All right. So this is really sad. I mean, you see that some of the Republicans are still saying that this is never going to happen. The list is never going to come out. And the question would be, why? Okay. I promise you, if this was President Obama, and I'm going to say this, even if this was Bill Clinton, you best believe the Republicans would be pushing for those files to be released. Okay. So in fact, they would go ahead and incriminate him without evidence. Okay. That's the whole point of it all, right? If you know you haven't done anything wrong, release it. It's just that simple, right? I mean, I'm just keeping it real, guys. Like for me, if I know I ain't done nothing, I don't worry about stuff I know I ain't done, right? And if they don't have any proof, guess what? I would say release it, honey. Go ahead, be my guest, okay? Because I got things to do, and the American people need to know the truth. Yeah, they need to know the truth. And once they find out the truth, all you people are going to look really dumb, okay? Because this is what you thought was happening, and I'm letting you know it's not happening, and here is the proof, right? That's what I'm saying. Transparency, honesty, and that's something that Donald Trump doesn't know how to do. All right. But anyway, I'm going to switch gears for a second, and this is talking about his health. Some people are saying that he is having a hard time remembering certain things. Let's listen in on Willie D. He's talking about the stimulus checks that he did mention earlier, or maybe around I'm gonna say September, October of last year. He's making it seem like now he doesn't remember saying that he was going to give Americans $2,000 checks. Let's listen in this, and I will give you my 2 cents as far as what I feel about this whole thing about his mental state.
Willie D. Live. What's up, family? Remember when Donald Trump said he was going to give every American $2,000? Yeah, you remember that? Well, he don't. At least that's what he says. Check him out.
You promised $2,000 checks to Americans based off of your tariff revenues when it came.
I did do that. When did I do that?
Well, I mean, you're
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, I did 1776 for the military, right?
When will those Americans get those checks?
Well, I am going to. The tariff money is so substantial that's coming in that I'll be able to do 2,000 sometime, I would say, toward the end of the year.
You promised $2,000 checks.
Family. It's one thing to forget that you said you was going to give one person $2,000. But when you lie and say you're going to give millions of people $2,000, when you say that, you know damn well you remember saying that. Ain't no way you're going to forget saying something like that. But he had to say it to justify the tariffs and all the other bad moves that he was making and to try to get people's mind off those Epstein files. He said he gave...
I'm sorry. Let me chime in for just a second. Do you see how this could be another distraction? Here we go again to get your mind off of the Epstein files.
$1,776 to the military. The reporter quickly shot back, when will Americans get those checks? I don't know who she is, but I ain't got no problem with that. Hold that fool feet to the fire. Well, he don't remember. So I'll pull the records. This is what Donald Trump said on his Truth Social, on his failed Truth Social, about giving Americans $2,000. People that are against the tariffs are fools. We are now the richest, most respected country in the world with almost no inflation and a record stock market price. 401ks are highest ever. We are taking in trillions of dollars and will soon begin paying down our enormous debt, $37 trillion. Record investment in the U.S., plants and factories going up all over the place. A dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone. If Trump don't know how to do anything else, he knows how to lie. Yeah, this dude publicly backed $2,000 checks at the end of 2020, even criticizing Republicans for blocking them. Once the Georgia runoffs passed and power shifted, the $2,000 never materialized. Most people got $600, but the rest of the $2,000 only was realized after Biden got in office. And let me give you some more. So he said that Mexico would pay for the wall. That never happened. That was the big one, right? Mexico never paid for the wall. But guess who did? You, U.S. taxpayers. Yeah, man. Large sections of the wall was never, ever, ever constructed at all.
And he's right. That's what I'm saying. He's making all these promises to the American people, but he doesn't follow through. Okay. And that's another thing. It's almost like, people they talked about Biden and his mental state. Because remember, he was having problems walking and he was falling down a lot. And he is older than Trump, right? But he was very forgetful. And he couldn't get his words out when he was, trying to speak. But now Donald Trump is making promises, and these promises were just a few months ago. This was not even that long ago. And he doesn't even remember saying something like this to the American people. So it's crazy.
There was only partial fencing built, and much of it was replacing exterior barriers. And then he said, I passed the biggest tax cut for the middle class. So check this out. The 2017 tax law gave permanent cuts to corporations and temporary cuts to individuals. Many middle class families saw small, short lived benefits that expired or were offset later. The health care plan was 2 weeks away. That's another promise he made, right? For years, Trump's promised a full replacement for Obamacare and said it was coming very soon. No comprehensive plan was ever produced or passed. He said the election was stolen. Despite dozens of court losses and no credible evidence, Trump repeatedly told Americans the 2020 election was rigged. Judges, including Trump-appointed ones, rejected those claims. He said he didn't know about various scandals, right? From hush money payments to misconduct. Trump often claimed ignorance, only for documents, statements, and recordings to later contradict those statements.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's only going to look out for himself, guys. And that's the thing. If he has to lie to get out of something or to just magically have amnesia on half the stuff that he says, that's what he's going to do. He's not going to stand on what he said only if it benefits him, okay? But if it's going to penalize him or if it's going to get him in trouble, he has no recollect. Okay, he just doesn't remember. I just don't remember saying any of that, right? So this is something that we really need to take a look at going into this year number 2 because he is getting older. I showed you last year that he had bruises on his hands, and I think he has something that he's wearing up his leg, some type of uh, something that's connected inside of his pants leg. I'm not sure what it is. His ankles were very swollen last year, and now he's getting to be forgetful. So like I said, it's taking a toll on him already, and this is just year number 1 going into year 2. All right, we're gonna keep our eyes open on this. I'm not gonna drag it out too long, but I just want you to see that even things that he just said, he's not even remembering half the stuff. So that's pretty sad, right? But anyway, guys, I just wanted to cover this for tonight. I hope you enjoy. Yes, I will be back on Thursday again at 8 p.m. We're going to talk about some more of the MAGA voters that are really getting upset and they're still crying and, doing more hissy fits. And, but, everybody tried to warn them. We tried to tell them, but they still just don't get it, right? But anyway, again, all the new subscribers, welcome to my channel. And all the subscribers who have hung in there with me in this last year and a half, thank you for supporting me all the way to the very end. This channel is going to continue to keep growing. And again, I'm going to continue bringing that content to you on Mondays and Thursdays. Also on Wednesdays and Fridays is on my fun and entertainment channel. I will be doing the relationship sector and entertainment news. So check me out on that channel as well. I'll be back on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on Fun and Entertainment with T. Okay? All right, guys. So if you enjoyed the content, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you can, please hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss any episodes every time I come on to YouTube. I will be back again on Wednesday on Fun and Entertainment with T. And then return back on Thursday with Sports and Politics with T. All right. All right, guys. Well, everybody enjoy the rest of your night. And I will talk with you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.